Right, this is my version of the multi-rig. Slightly different to some, with a slightly outturned eye instead of the normal sort of curved shank hook. Got a boom of about 6 inches, and then it's pinned down with 3 different parts of putty. Got a little bit of shrink over the eye instead of just having it flowing freely. And I'll show you how to tie this one. Right, the length of the rig, I try to go from the 2 longest corners of my bucket. Most rectangle buckets in the industry now are the same sort of size, so should get the average length. Snip that off. I tie the first figure of 8 loop, which effectively is going to be the end that the hook sits at. And I'll try and get that back roughly about an inch, then tighten him off like that, and then snip off your excess. Right, now at this point I get this little stripping tool, slide the rig up through and literally sit it a couple of mil back from that original knot, and I'm just trying to pull and strip off the tiniest little bit just to give myself a little hinged area. That's enough. Right, now you can either strip the pulled back sort of skin off, or you can leave it there, because I do end up putting a bit of putty there and it does give it an extra bit of grip. So obviously that's where we're at now. Now I'll come to the other end. Again, figure of 8 loop, tie it over hand, pull back through. Nice and tight, don't want no slipping knots. Cut them off. Right, now it gets a bit fiddly. You want to get your hook, threading it through the front of the hook and out through the back. Pull it right through to start with, and then I'm using a hook ring swivel here, so you can just use obviously a ring, but I prefer the swivel version because that plugs up inside the bait, and for me it makes it feel a little bit firmer. Pull the top back over the hook and then pull the knot backwards until roughly pulled tight the ring is in line with the barb on the hook. Once you've got that, it should look like that. Then you want to take off possibly about ½ inch shrink tubing, slide that on the bottom end, should go over the knot if you've got big enough shrink tubing, so slide that over the top, over the hook, make sure that the ring hasn't moved too much, and then literally you only want to be going past the eye on this side about 4 or 5 mil, if that, because you only want it to kick down. That's all you want it to do. You don't want a big trail coming off the back. So leave that like that. In the meantime, you can obviously sort out your putty. Once you've tied this rig a few times, you'll know the sort of sizes you need. But it obviously will vary with all the pop-ups, I guess. Right, just shrink that one down, get your angle. You want about a 45-degree angle, if that makes sense. Coming down like that. You can pull your rig out while you're at it as well. Make sure it's nice and straight. There we are. Right, now back onto the putty for the rig. I like to put one right down on the front end, just there. And then one about a third of the way from the top. So, like that. And the rig will sit just like that, with your bait coming off that D from the bottom. And obviously the flexibility of that gives it that little bit of movement that it needs to be able to drop into the mouth and move around without it coming out really stiff. But there it is.